Welcome back to the Tracy L Clark Show. I am so thrilled to have you guys here today. I know it's been an incredible ride this year, and we are always so honored for the returning listeners and new listeners. It's not a call-in show today, but we do have a special guest. And before we get to our incredible hour here of unraveling things down the rabbit hole, I want to encourage you to check out our Telegram group. You can go to the website, tracylclark.com. Why it's really, really important. We have our community page there. If you're on the free page on the website, you can go to the Telegram group. This is our open one to help support you and shift you, because I do realize right now a lot of people have gone through rabbit holes, or maybe you need a clearing, a shift, an activation. What do you believe? What do you not believe? We're going to talk about that today. And how do you come through that? It's very hard right now because you can be wavering, and everything that you know, you can be questioning. And that's why I am so happy to have our guest Mack with us today, because we're going to talk about those rabbit holes and help you really get out of them and navigate them. I started this journey, many of you know, over 18 years ago. I've been down those rabbit holes. I have questioned things, all the way back. And can't wait to share with you sort of what my simple solution was that I know helped me stay strong and steady no matter what was going on out in the world. So Lucas, you know what, here we are heading into summer, and the world, for some things, are seeing that, some things we can see truths coming out, other areas we're like, what's happening? So I'm really happy that you are here to join us today, and maybe we can help our listeners get out of these rabbit holes and stay the steady course.
Yes. One thing I can absolutely, without doubt, guarantee is you will never find light in a rabbit hole.
You sure won't.
No light when you go down. That's right. There is no light when you go down. And isn't it interesting that we're in this time? I had this vision or idea or this daydream yesterday. I don't even know how to describe what it was, but on the earth right now, somewhere, is the last person who will choose their sovereignty. Or give their sovereignty away. There's somewhere on this planet who is that last person, and is love under the law of free will waiting for everyone to choose. It just is for me, I don't know. It's just like this feels without opinion, without coercion, without manipulation, without ideologies and theologies and philosophies and all these things. Somewhere on this planet is the last person who will decide, actually, I am less than no one. Nothing.
I think that's a lot of, you can see it right now, that this energy that's boiling on the planet. Think about it. We've gone through this crazy, blender of truths coming through, little bits here and there, because it has to come out in little bits or people would be flying out windows, they just wouldn't be able to handle it.
Right.
And I think that's a blessing, but really, when you start to question, because we've had so much manipulation and so much control, and then you go, what is my sovereign being? We always say you're a sovereign being, you're a child of God. What does that mean? That you're this beautiful energy of love, right? And you should always have free will and free expression of who you are and how you show up in the world. And it's interesting because in the woo-woo world, people are like, well, just love. But a lot of people don't even know what love is. They're not even, we're born into love, and you think control is love, and you think, beating you up is love. And you think like, it's just really screwed up. It really is. And so when people say, oh, go back to love, and in the woo-woo space, they're like, oh, love that person for doing this, this, and this. Well, there are some people, if you see, they are totally not even in their bodies. And they're judging themselves for not even being able to love that person, but you can just love them and let them go, but they will never change. They don't care how much love. And you're very accurate in the sense that right now you can't go down that rabbit hole and find the light. And one of the things I want to share is what I learned, because you go up and down. We're all going to question our beliefs, our truth, what we learned, what we didn't learn. And I'd love your point of view on this. Is this is why I always say you got to connect back to your spirit body, because your spirit body is where your trusting, your knowing, and your believing lives, because your spirit body with your soul and your physical body, that's where that huge connection to the God of your understanding is, up to the high vibration of love, of choice, of how we want to be. And that's the area that's been kicked out for so long, that people are looking again to, what if we had the guru, look up to the guru, which is like the last thing. There's no gurus on the planet. We're all just here equals, helping each other move through. Or like you were saying, how much information, misinformation, philosophy, like look at, I would say with science, right? The bumblebee's not supposed to fly. The Wright brothers weren't supposed to be able to do what they do.
Right.
Like, we're cutting off a whole bunch of beautiful possibilities, which will make you also question when you come into your sovereign being and really claim it in your truth and your integrity and connect into the spirit being. You're going to question all of that information, and you're supposed to connect to the truth of the God of your understanding.
Yeah, it's interesting. As you were talking, I was seeing in 2020, there was those who realized that the leadership on this planet were wicked and evil people that did not support life and freedom and sovereignty and beauty and goodness and truth and all these things. And then there was this other group that loved them and idolized them and worshiped them in the institutions that they run. And the results happened how they happened in 2020, and the world was what it was. And then in 2021, there was this flipping, and it's flipping right now.
Yep.
Where the people who knew that the leadership of the world was not holding the best interests of every sovereign being on this planet in their mind were hoping that those would crumble, and those that loved them were hoping that they would be in power. And now those that love them are finding out that they're losing power. And those that were disappointed that they didn't lose power are finding out that they were correct in some regard. But I think what it's going to do, it's going to level us all, and it's going to create such humility. I was teaching, I'm wearing a shirt intentionally today called it says the hero's journey.
Yes.
And the hero's journey, I was teaching this the other day to a group of guys. And I said, the one thing that they don't talk about in the hero's journey that is crucial for the hero to maintain his path is humility. And I say the movie Rocky, which is Academy Award-winning film, Best Picture of the Year, follows the hero's journey to a T. But Rocky had to have the humility to, after he cussed out Mick, the trainer who wanted to train him for Apollo, and Mick goes away, Rocky had to decide, do I really want to be who I truly know I am, or do I want to be right?
Yep.
And those cannot exist in the same place. And it had to take the humility to go down the stairs, go after Mick, and ask him, okay.
Yeah.
And I think this great humbling is coming where, so we're right, but is there love? So we're, it's this weird.
But it's also this
shifting.
space. It is a shift. And it's also this place where, I was saying this the other day, like, people don't even know their neighbors anymore.
Right.
They're not even taking care of each other. We've lost community. And this is what this is coming back to. And it's a slower process, yes, than what people think. And it's also there to help people wake up and see the truth. Like you said, that I always said, if the institutions loved you and cared about you, they would have already gotten rid of poverty and lack. You can come up with a medicine in 6 months, but you can't get rid of poverty and lack. Like, come on, right there, right?
100%. Yes.
But I want to share, I've never shared this on air. I've shared it privately in the group, but I'm going to share it because you just triggered something about, sometimes when we go on our life's journey, we don't see things as fast as we want them to be. And it's because things have to change if we've declared something we want. So when you want a strong foundation, live in truth and integrity, you can't just jump onto everybody's train. It doesn't work that way, because you're going to end up, as you and I know, in some areas are like, oh my God, they do this. I ended up in corporate like that, where you find out they're lying, they're cheating, they're stealing, they're hookers, they're blow, they're whatever. You've been there, you get it. And so I was having it's probably about 6 years ago, I was having this my pissy moment. I'm like, oh, how is that person there when they're so out of integrity? And I was having this like awake conversation. So I go to sleep, have this dream. I've never forgotten about it. It goes exactly what you're saying. And I was getting ready to speak. I was behind the stage and there was all these speakers that were kind of coming on. I don't know, there was a bunch of people out there, crowds, whatever. And I was saying to this old man, I said to him, I said, I don't get this. How are these people here? Look at, they're lying. Look at, you see this. And I was like pointing out these things. Okay. He's like, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Just go out and do what you need to do. So I go out and I'm on the stage and I look at all these people and I know some of the faces. And there's, on a stage, there's 2 steps that like go down on either side. Down. I look at the top and there's these 4 fireballs, and they're coming and all the people are standing up and the old man takes me and throws me down the stairs and he sits on top of me. And I'm like, what the, and I could smell in the dream, like I've never forgotten, it was so strong. It could smell the like burnt, right? And I look up and everybody in the whole facility was charred. And I looked at him and he said, stay humble, stay low and stay humble. And I got chills. I bolted out of that dream and I share it when I teach. And I will tell you, he says, if you don't want to get burned, stay humble. And I realized it's like, stay your course, no matter what's going on outside, stay humble, stay connected. It might be a slower path, but we're going to get to where we're going. And that's the foundation you want. That dream literally was not a dream. I know it was etched into my brain, and there's not a day that goes by that I do not remember that. And I think it's so important for what you were just saying right now, because this energy is taking us in a whole new direction where people have to unlearn that we have learned to partake in these draconian measures. Like, I'm sorry, if you're giving your money to a lot of these religious organizations, you're getting that energy back in your own bodies. If you're supporting all of this division that's going on through institutions, you're going to get division back in your life. And those are just some of it. But it's like, none of us, no matter what, we've been taught that those are poor people, those are rich people, those are no, these are just different circumstances. No one's better than each other. But again, that division, right? So when we stay humble and we look back, we can start to see and maybe understand where somebody is, why they're there. I was messed up, you were messed up and people just thought we were mess ups. Well, no, we had things that they didn't know about that went in our lives.
That's right.
And when somebody took the moment to look and see that in us, it helped us out of the rabbit hole. It helped us out into our light. And this is where the earth right now, right? People gotten so arrogant and so I need this to get here to get this, that they forgot. And now that's part of what's crumbling. And it's going to be over time, over, space. And it's just, I know people thought they were going to wake up and the light's going to come in. Well, the light's won.
Yeah.
It could still take another, I always have said, and I've stayed to it. 2021 was the mass year that would go down in history of awakening. 22, 23, lots of unfolding. 23, 25, lots of rebuilding. 25, 20 to 30, that's going to be mass change and rebuilding. So that's like 10 years.
Yeah.
People look at me and go, but we could speed it up if humanity wants to, sure.
But if it got sped up, perhaps. See, this is the thing about the law of free will, that people want it to be sped up. But that's why yesterday when I saw that there is a person right now who's deciding whether they will be sovereign or not, and they're the last person, and it's not we can't force that person because that's coercing them. It's no different than someone putting a gun to a person's head to cross their sovereign will. So love, which I believe is the very essence and fabric, which means to give, is waiting for that person and is not going to cross their will. And it takes humility to acknowledge and honor them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with what people choose. This is the wild thing. And this is what I've had to let go of, is there's nothing wrong with what they've chosen.
No.
They're just choosing. They have the law and freedom to choose.
And they can keep choosing. And if you're going to choose out of fear, you're choosing out of love. That's what it comes down to.
That's it.
What are you choosing under? Like right now in the world, what have we seen? People lining up, choosing to do things in their bodies out of fear. Or in Canada, they give them $150. So
or ice cream.
Or ice cream. Yeah. Yeah. Ice cream and $150. Okay. Really? So those are choices.
You know what that word is? You hear that the politicians in the United States, they love ice cream. listen to the word.
I know.
What's the word? I scream.
I know.
I
Yeah.
scream.
Yeah. I know.
They are mocking.
Yep. I know.
Mocking humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have some ice cream. Terror.
Yeah.
Terror is saying, have ice cream. And fear, I scream. You know what? I never scream.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
yell when need to. I raise my voice like a lion when need to.
Yeah.
But I don't scream because I'm not out of control and I'm not in fear. And I walk in the light. And sometimes the whisper is more powerful than the scream. In fact, I would say
It's
all
more
the time.
powerful. It's always more
Always
powerful.
more powerful.
100%. And I think that's what people really need to understand, because we're going to see, it's funny, you know, we've already seen internet issues around the world. There's going to be more. We've already seen cyber issues. There's going to be more. But again, this is how I say to people, if you can reframe it to look at it and understand that it's also, those energies don't want to go very easily. It's like someone saying to you, if you've had, you know, French fries every day of your life and you love French fries now, and they're going to take French fries away, you're going to have a big hissy fit, you know, like I know I'm downplaying it, but it's the same thing, right? You will fight and do everything. Or that little kid that you remember, well, I don't know if they can do it anymore. Kids are older, but I used to take away their cell phone because grounding wouldn't really work. Well, oh my God, my one kid she could find where that hidden cell phone was. She was like,
GPS to it.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
God. Middle of the night, I catch her like crawling in. I'm like, no, you know, you're not getting that cell phone. But it's, you know, but again, there's a hook in there, right? So they're not going to go and let things go lightly. And it's really, again, to respect everyone has a choice, you know, good, bad, and different. It is what it is. They're allowed to choose. And it's when but that's the point where also people are feeling confused and weary, because certain people are allowed to choose. Other people are being shamed for choosing.
And yes, it's true. And yet we always have a choice.
Always. And you keep choosing. Like I said, I didn't know it was deemed not allowed to go out of your house for the last 6 months. I didn't know that was illegal where I live. I had no idea, but I went out.
Yeah.
You know, I was choosing that I'm going to go live my life. See you later.
Every single person's exceeded a speed limit on this planet. So what do these laws and rules mean? What is this whole system? It's a joke. And someone could say, well, it preserves life. Perhaps. But that implies that humanity is not self-sufficient and sovereign enough.
It also says you're not responsible to make your own choices, to raise your own children, to have a smart thinking. You can't even decide. Like, I was like, a lot of the rule followers, when I talk about it, it's literally, they want to be told what to eat for breakfast, what not to eat. Like, I'm like, my body knows what to eat. Like, I fast for 2-3 days. My body's happy. If it doesn't, it will then tell me I want food. Like, my body tells me what I need. Like, I don't need, but a lot of aware people, they find they get frustrated with the institutions, because what it is as they connect into their sovereign being stronger and stronger and into the God of their understanding, their way, and their connection with choice, they're like, you really start to wake up and see where, you know, it's like, no, I can raise myself. Thank you very much. I've had this joke since I was little, and people always, you know, have made fun of me, and I've said it, I'm like, well, I don't understand those institutions. They're not my parent. And when I became a parent, I'm like, go away. You're not my parent. Like, I would not even want you. Like, where I live, I've got people telling you how to be healthy, but they're 350 pounds. I'm sorry, like overweight, like huge overweight. They're tired. And I'm like, you are not, don't tell me how to be healthy when I had to restore my entire body because I was going to die again. And I look at you and you're ready to keel over because you're so sick. Like, you're just overweight, you're tired, you're like, it doesn't make any sense. Yet people sit there waiting. Tell me what to do next. Tell me how to live, you know? Yeah.
The psychological operation done with the frequencies and the spell casting and the media and it goes down to even what we deem as virtuous as parenting. All this, every individual has to make a choice right now.
Yep.
Is it the highest love?
Yeah.
Is it the highest good? And how do we know? Because it makes us free. If it doesn't, make us free. It's not the highest good, and therefore it is not the truth. So all that is said, all that is spewed, all that is uttered forth from these power structures that does not make us more free, therefore it is all 100% lie. And how I've been describing it lately to friends, we had friends over the other day. I said, think of an artesian well, just the most incredible water that the earth can give us. I fill a crystal glass of artesian water. You're like, oh my gosh. But I put a drop of urine, just a drop.
Yep.
Did the urine stop at the drop, or did it diffuse and go through the whole glass? The whole glass. So just a little, the Bible says that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
Yeah.
A little pride is pride. A little lie is all lie.
All lie, 100%.
And that is what we are waking up to, because we've been accepting, well, it's just a little, it's just a little, just a little. And I'm speaking to the rule followers, just a little, well, just a little. It's all. It's not a little, it's all.
It is. Yeah.
It's like this might sound so elementary, but good, because it's so simple that a child should understand. Either my hand's touching this microphone or it's not touching the microphone. It doesn't matter how much I think or how close I get to that microphone. It's either touching it or not. It's either true or it's not. It doesn't matter if it's 99.9% close to the truth. If it's not 100% truth. And how do we know if it's truth? Because it makes us free.
Yeah.
And nothing is making us free from these institutions. Not one utterance. And they say, well, it's keeping us safe. Safety is not freedom.
Nope. No, it's not. And people run to safety because they're running under fear.
That's right.
Which isn't love. We know the opposite of is fear, right?
That's
so everything that you build in your body for safety is because you're running from fear or terror or trauma. So it's always fear, and then terror, trauma go under the fear, but that's why fear to love, right? So they go different layers. So you can see it in the body, and it's so true. It's like, well, to keep you safe from what? So now you're creating more fear into the world, more fear. And then it takes into the body 100%. And it's when you're in, and that's what the whole year is about, coming into your truth and your integrity, which means usually you're going to get a lot of pushback because you will not waver on that. And that's where, when we connect into the God of our understanding, you're not wavering, which then triggers all these other people, because they're like, why are you not wavering? Like, and I'm like, because I know. Like, when people say to me things, they're like, when I tell you I know, they're like, well, what do you mean you just know? And I'm like, I just know. So when I left a lot of these institutions that were not serving me anymore, I was getting very sick. They're like, well, that's crazy. How do you know? I said, I just know. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I know this is the right thing. I can feel it in the gut, and you don't waver. Your intuition. And that's where a lot of people are waking up, because it's hard also to express, because you say, I just know. They're like, well, give me the proof. Show me the science. Show me the this. And it's like, I don't need to. I just know, because science is just a snapshot of what's going on right now. It's not this infinite, lovely, all unlimited way of being and understanding. And so I'm like, I just know. And I trust 100% in what that hand of God is saying to me. So I got to live according to that, because I'll tell you, when I didn't listen to it, I got in trouble. That crap started happening. So when I was like being tested, I'm like, okay, I may be the black sheep here, but that's okay. I know, and I'm going to follow that knowing. And that's what people are having a hard time with right now, because now what are you doing? You're not following the crowd. You're following your own intuition to lead your own life. Like you said, to be free, to be sovereign, to make choices. And like at the end of each night, I ask myself, did I do the best job that I could do today? Did I show up in the best version of me with everyone I touched and everywhere I was? Was there anything I could have done better? I do a check-in before I go to bed. And if there is, I'm alert. I'm like, okay, I could have done that a little bit better. I'm going to make a note of that. Did I make sure when I go out for a walk, everyone I pass, I say hello, even if they don't want to say hello. And I say, thank you, God, give them what they require so they can have a better day. Like, I do my own check-ins. That's for me. But that's how I know. And I'm like, I make sure I'm not out of that alignment. If I am, I'll check in. Was there anywhere I was out of alignment? We don't teach people that anymore. I'm like, oh, Okay, we're good. Let's keep going. I can do better. You can do better. And whatever. I don't put pressure on myself. I'm just like, okay, that could be even better. And then sure enough, it gets better and better and better. But then you're not following the crowd. You're not part of the masses. You're
And
disturbing the status quo, because when you do that, you're creating change.
right.
Oh, and then you might be a cult leader. You might be a follower, because what? You're teaching people to love themselves and live according to the way you want to live, like be your own being.
You're actually saying come out of the cult. A cult says
Exactly.
do not question authority. So these people are in a cult and they
They
don't
are.
understand how big the cult is.
Yeah, they don't get it,
The
because if you
definition
question
of a
those
cult
institutions,
is you cannot read or listen to information outside of our ordained content.
100%.
And
100%. And it's funny how they throw that around to people like you and I that are like just saying, be free, make a choice on your own, be
read
happy.
everything, question question everyone,
Exactly.
find the source text, read, you
Yeah.
know, Fauci's emails got released.
Oh, I
And
didn't see those. Yes.
yeah, they got released. And guess what everyone's finding? Oh, the source, the
Yeah.
real truth. And he's in big trouble. And a
Yeah.
lot of things are happening. And once people, and like, hello, he
But people
never
see, they don't
spoke.
question if they see them on TV, they don't question, oh, they're on TV again, it's been moved through. And this is the best thing about this year, like you're saying, question it all and come to your own conclusion. And if you still love those people at the end of the day, and that's your tribe or your place, well, then that's your space.
Yeah.
And if you go, oh, but I bet when you woke up, because I know when I woke up, I got pretty alienated because I did start questioning everything.
Yeah.
And I've always questioned. And that's the one thing I was told even as a little kid, like, you talk so much. Why do you have so many questions?
Mhm.
Because it didn't make sense to me.
I've been dealing with, again, it's crept up, the Christian energy,
Yeah.
which is, let's be honest, it's the nastiest energy
Yep.
there is.
Yep.
People say, what, how can you say that? As someone who's come from that institution, that hierarchy, that power structure, was a Christian preacher who's read the Bible 7 times cover to cover, can give a dissertation on every denomination, who started them, who were the founders, why they broke off. Let me tell you, this is keeping people in fear and control, and following a current that they have not chosen for themselves. And even if I've been thinking a lot, because I've talked about it, people talked about this, but Jesus was not a Christian, nor was he part of the Jewish structure.
He wasn't. No.
But think of what the Vatican is today. I mean, you can't just walk into the Vatican. They have Swiss Guard from Switzerland, because that's where the Swiss banks are, and blah, blah, blah. And you can figure it out for yourself, people, if you just think. However, you can't just walk into the Vatican.
No.
Well, the Vatican is based off Solomon's temple. Sol, sun.
Yeah.
O, mun, moon.
Yeah.
Sol, O, mun, sun and moon.
Yeah.
Solomon's temple is actually the sun and moon temple. And Jesus walks into that with a whip that he had pre-built, and beats the crap out of people and overthrows a stone table.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Yeah. Well, and
The power, the visceralness, the not afraid, the knowing. Talk about knowing. And he
that
says,
was the knowing that was
knowing
things were wrong, and that's why he was gaining so much power. That's why they got, like, in terms of, I don't mean power like guru power. I mean power teaching people to be sovereign.
Sovereign. He taught sovereignty. He said, you're not a servant, you are my friend.
Yeah.
I call you friends, for the servant knows not what the master does. But I have told you all things because you are equal to me.
But see, this is an interesting conversation. I know we could go on forever, but this, one of the reasons things are going a little bit slower that people don't get, is because when you've had so much of that teaching, I guess, imprinting, you come from that world. And they all have so many rules, right? So many rules. Like
people are triggered right now. I know. Listening, they're like,
yeah, you can't do that. You can't do this. It's like, that's the problem, is that what I see, because I've asked Spirit a lot. We've even turned our non-denominational ministry into a foundation, because we don't want to be caught up in this sweep, this place, because we're just, our only space is just love people. That's it. Just love people, just be there, and let's grant wishes and have fun and make the world a better place. But it's interesting, because when I've looked at the energy, and I've seen this for a long time, because I was always fascinated with it as I stayed out. But when you look at the energy of it, and you look at the way it's going to come down, there's what people forget is God is very loving. It's very gentle. So the Spirit doesn't want to come in and create huge chaos in people's lives, even though we have to have the chaos for the change. And when I look at how, right, so the energy that came through in early, I guess it was end of May, that energy astrologically has never been in place since the fall of the Roman Empire. That's the last time astrologically it was in place. So you can see all of this stuff is moving. But think about where Spirit and all the angels and all the guides and all of our loved ones on the other side and God of our understanding is now actually trying to create some gentleness on the planet. Because as this institution, like you were just saying, it's been there for so long, it's come through, as you know, generational imprinting, rules after thousands of generations. You got to do this. There's been so much fear. If you don't follow the rules, you're going to die. If you don't follow the rules, you're going to go to hell. If you don't follow the rules, right? So imagine, not only that line now is collapsing, but the religious line is collapsing throughout the generations in the past lifeline. So you can see that as this is trying to come out, it's releasing in bits and pieces, because if you rip the Band-Aid off, like you or I would say, rip it off, because we can handle it, millions of people around the world wouldn't be able to. And one of the things people forget about this is that programming runs really, really like thousands of years, thousands. And so to even move one of those programming for people that aren't awake, it's going to send them in a huge tailspin. So we are getting a little bit of gentleness here to help more people wake up, to start questioning. So it's not like, oh, if I left my marriage, I'm going to go to hell. No, you're not going to go to hell because you left your marriage. Like, not going to happen, Right. But the imprinting's there, or I got to pay $2,500. I know people who paid $2,500 to get a divorce from the Catholic Church, and they said no. But they're like, but my husband had 500 affairs. No, none for you. Because it was political, right? There's a lot of political backstory there. So
I used to be a worship leader at a church, a big church, big church, with a very famous pastor who would publicly call people forth in front of the church who are getting a divorce and shame them and punish them. They called it church punishment. Yeah. And then he passed, and guess what? He had a child out of wedlock. Guess what? He was with the secretary. Guess what? He moved. The insanity and the sickness and you know what I've been thinking? I've been playing with the I was sharing before we started recording or live is the Bible might be a quantum playbook, a game, the rules for the game, but it's not to be literal, nor is it linear. And it's our job to determine who is speaking, even if they come with the name of God.
Yeah.
And I've been asking my friends this. I said, okay, so the Bible says that God wrote his law in our heart to love, and to love one another, to love him and to love one another. So if that's imprinted on every human being's heart, which I do believe that is true, that we all know to love, then why does he say not to kill? Was that God? If it's already written on our heart, because anti-drug, the war on drugs, the war on this, the war where attention goes, energy flows. So why would a negative be spoken of in the positive, like all the institutional words and all the institutional spell casting that they do? So then I started thinking, okay, what do I really, let's look at all the characters and the energies of this Bible. Baal, rock. All Baal is you get into like all the wordplay and the magic, but I was thinking Genesis 1:1, it says in. That's the first word of that verse. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Okay. That's beautiful. I like that. Genesis 2:1, the very first word is thus. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished and all the hosts of them. And Genesis 3:1 says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. So you have 3 words, in, thus, and now. The 57th verse of the Bible is Genesis 3:1. It's the very first time the serpent's mentioned. 5G, what's the 7th letter of our alphabet? G. 5G network is the serpent's network. It's 3:1. You reverse 3:1, you get 13. It's the satanic number. Yeah. So we've lived in this frequency for so long, and people think it's a virtue, but it's actually not. And then I thought, okay, we have 3 lessons here. We can be in love, in truth, where we are completely protected, where Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. What is the fruit? Love, joy, peace, long suffering, goodness, gentleness, faith, temperance, meekness. Against such, there's no law. What's the reversal of law? Wall. What if America been speaking this wall? We're going to build a wall, not wall. Well, it's because it's protecting love, joy, peace, long suffering, goodness, gentleness, faith, temperance, meekness. So when we walk in love, in God, in truth, in beauty, and the God of our understanding is such a beautiful way. Like, is this in right now, this moment? Am I in love? Am I free right now? Yeah. Because once we leave the in presence of God, we go thus. Yeah. And when we leave thus, now, in every now moment, the serpent is waiting. Yep. To say, hey, it's not that bad. Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit. It's just a little rule following. Yeah. It's just a little compliance. It's just 2 weeks. It's just 2 years. It's just 2 generations. It's just 2,000 years.
2,000 years. Yeah.
What the? Yeah. You know, like,
you're like, I know. It's true.
This is what I've been in, thus, and now. Are we in thus? We'll always be caught by the serpent. But when we're in love, in truth, in beauty, and goodness, oh,
and then you can't, because you what happens, and what I find is literally you get a physical body reaction. Like, I don't care if you get a gut ache or you want to vomit, because when you get into that energy and that kind of stuff, you feel it. You're like, whoa, I got to take a step back. I want to see what's going on here. Show me the truth. I say that all the time. I'm like, thank you, God. Show me the truth about that. Show me the truth about that person. Show me the truth about that. And when people start doing it,
so good.
They go, oh my God, Tracy, that person spilled the beans. And I'm like, well, didn't you want the truth?
That's so
they're like,
good.
what? I'm shocked. I can't believe. They looked at me and they're like, did I just say that to you? And they're like, yeah. But I'm like, but that's how it happens. I'm like, show me the truth. Show me the truth. Sometimes you might wait a couple months to get the truth. But see, a lot of people have been saying, show the world the truth. And look what it's happening. It's happening in your country. It's happening in my country. It's happening my clients in the UK. Like, I was cutting my grass when one of my clients from Israel told me that they're not doing passports anymore. And I didn't even know. I'm like, I don't know if this is true. I like Telegram. I told them all, but I'm like, I don't know if this is true. I'm sure it was, because I said they live there, but I was like, I'll just go verify it. But they live there and they're not going to feed me garbage. But I was like, felt good. Here you go. And then all of a sudden it was true, right? It all came out and whatever. But show me the truth. Great saying. Show me the truth. And your stomach, if it's not, you'll start to feel it. You'll be like, I need more information here, and go get it. And if it takes you another 3 months, but it's coming out. And this is what's so beautiful about what is coming out. And I always say, hold on between, like I've been saying it all year, but we got to get to September, October. There's going to be even more truth. And be proud. Like, I love your shirt, because I've been saying over and over, like, light guys, all the light people, if you're here, you're a light, you're awake, doing your thing, you're the hero. Like, I know you're weary, but don't be weary. I know you're weary. Go rest. It's okay, but keep coming, because to stand in your truth, that serpent's always going to tempt you. And when you eventually say no, because when I started to walk in my truth and my light years ago, I can't tell you, I kept even getting tempted. Like, what do you think those $450,000 a year jobs down in corporate and banking were about? That wasn't, I'm like, I'm not selling my soul to the devil. I'm done. Like, see you later. That's what I'd say. But you don't think that was temptation? Single parent? Sure. Sure. Right. A lot of money as a single parent, but like, no, thank you. No, thank you. And I'm like, I'm not selling my soul. I'm going to go exactly what God told me. And that's why I'm here today. And I thank God every day. But it wasn't easy. That was not an easy choice to make, because that's tempting. So when you do walk in truth, for a while, you will get tempted. But the more you say no, eventually it's like, oh man, okay, I'll leave them alone because they're not.
That's
And
right.
I said, it's like those little snakes go underground and they leave you alone because they can't get to you anymore. You just got to stay. And I know those days, remember, like you said, if you can remember, I used to call them snakes in suits. And that was our joke. We're like snakes in suits, but I'm like, it is. And then they eventually leave you alone.
Yeah.
They're like, they can't touch you. Your truth is too strong. And that's where people need to remember right now. I really believe is that when you walk in that, it's a harder path because it's against the grain, but you will win. You will come out happier. You will be more content, more at peace, and you will attract all the people like you and I attract that are like, yeah, keep going.
Yes.
Keep being in your truth. Stand in your power. Stand in your sovereignty. Stand in that. And I really believe by the time we get to the end of this year, people are going to look back and we're going to have a lot of mess still that's coming that we have to clean up. It has to happen in all of our institutions. But people that have said the course, I see incredible blessings coming so we can help rebuild back into the humanity of love that we're meant to be.
Yes.
Huge blessings for people. No fear needed.
There's a verse that in the Bible, and I'm even working on, I quote other books, but I read it so much, so it's constantly ingrained in me, but Romans 8:28.
That's part of your truth to set it free. It's part of what you're here. You've walked through it. So you can help other people set that part of them free that are confused.
Yeah. That's
why you go there.
That's right. Romans 8:28 says, and we know all things work together for good to them who love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. And I say, everyone has an issue with the word God. So just say love. To them who love,
yeah,
all things work together for good.
Well, when you have an issue with the word God, which I did for forever until about 5 years ago, because I was referencing it to all of those teachings and all of that lineage. And when I cleared that out and realized God is the ultimate energy of love that encompasses through all time, space, dimensions, realities, galaxies, universes, portholes, wormholes, I'm like, oh, I could say it, but I had to do my own work to release all that imprinting and all those generations out of those lines because it was not, I'm like, why would I want that? So I started with only saying universe, then divine, then universe, God, divine. And like I was a baby stepper. I had to crawl. And then I'm like, I can say God because I actually was able to anchor in exactly what it was in my truth and my understanding, which is that ultimate space of love. And I love that you said this because I think when I look at a lot of people in their energy, and I'd love your opinion on this, they have a hard time saying universe or divine because they think it's woo woo, but then, so they say God, but they're not in alignment with what that teaching is, or they can never say God because they're all over the place because they haven't anchored in what that truth is.
I think that's really beautiful. What I would say to every single person with any issue, whether you have an issue saying universe, source, divine, whatever, or you have an issue saying God, what is man's best friend? What do we say man's best friend is? Dog. What's the reverse of dog? God. Why is it that this canine, this beautiful animal, which shows us unconditional love, is the reversal of the word God? Because we are to see God's love in even the lowest of creatures to show us unconditional, infinite, unwavering love.
Yeah. I always tell my puppy, I always say, Charlie, you're my bestest friend. But Charlie loves everybody. Charlie goes to the dog park and he loves everybody. But Charlie's got little stubby legs and he's chubby. He's always at last at the pack trying to keep up, but he's still loving everyone, trying to. The dog's a little slow. I said, but he loves everybody.
That's great. That's great.
That teddy bear. I just want to cuddle him. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I think this wherever we have issue, we have room to grow. We have room to be free. We have room. And I think the big thing right now, and hopefully this doesn't take us too far off what we're talking about, but people are afraid to die.
Well, they are afraid to die. I was afraid to die, and I had 4 death experiences. I still had to reconcile what dying was. Yeah, totally, 100%.
It's the last thing it's the first thing that leads to freedom. It's the last thing I think humanity's dealing with right now is the fear of death.
And I know we could do a whole other show on this, but they're afraid to die because they haven't lived.
They haven't lived. I know. Braveheart. William Wallace says, all men die, but not all men truly live.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. It's true. And it's because they haven't lived. And that's why I say to people, are you living like
Mm.
according to the rules, or are you living how you want to live?
Was
And
it visceral? Was it exhilarating? Did you have the sting of battle? Did you know yourself?
yeah, yeah.
Did you
I have
get in the
no
arena?
I have no problem signing up because I'm like, wow, when I look at my life, I'm like, I pretty much do all the things I want to do. And yeah, there's more things that we get to do and create, but I'm like, I structure my life the way I want to live now. And that's what I think. And people are afraid, and they haven't. They work that job for that pension, sit there, and now they don't know what to do because they never lived. They got rid of their dreams. They stopped creating. They stopped painting. They stopped singing. They stopped dancing. They stopped all those things because now you're a grown up. Now you're in the corporate world. Now you pay your taxes, be a good little human, and. And so again, they rob that away. So people are afraid to die because they never really lived their dreams, and they just stayed in something. Maybe it's a marriage. They never learned to, we don't learn to love. They
Yeah.
stay in loveless marriages because churches tell them to. And
Yeah.
then, I hear so many incredible and sad stories from people about how a church came in and told them what to do and then left. So the preacher, the priest, whatever, told them what they couldn't do or could do, and their whole families were destroyed. And they lost everything, and they lived in agony and like the stuff I've heard from people. I'm just like,
It's
wow,
so
so they
wicked.
never lived.
It is so
Yeah.
every everyone listening right now. I who am I? I am I am who I am,
Yeah.
and I'm coming with the authority of the Most High God to bless you with absolute, pure, unadulterated freedom.
Thank
And
you, God.
anything that coerces your soul, your body, your mind, your spirit, your life is not of truth.
Thank
Why
you.
does the church want marriages to be? Because they can produce more children to create more slave and money to the coffers. So these ridiculous, ridiculous buildings with their ridiculous technologies that won't outlast a solar flare, an
Exactly.
EMP.
Hmm.
They want to keep building these things and building these things, and they just rob.
I was saying that my daughter and I were having that conversation the other day. I said, she goes, I don't really know about this whole marriage thing. And I said, we don't need it. We only have it for the institutions. I said, why
100%.
can't you go? You can have a little symbol if you want a ring or a chain or whatever, or a little
Yeah.
rib. And I said,
Yes.
go have a beautiful ceremony with you guys to express your love, however you want to express it to people. But you don't need papers. You don't need to say, because as soon as they get the papers, they just want to know so they can get their taxes, and they can, like, I know up here, they love you all to be married in common law because then they start taking more taxes. I said,
That's right.
purely for the government. It's purely for the institution. And she's like, yeah. I said, you don't need it. I don't believe in it. I'm like, whatever. If you want to get it, great. Don't care, but we don't need the paperwork.
Did it? This is a question that I think would be really beneficial for everyone listening on anything that you think is right. Can it exist without electricity?
Mm.
Because if it can't exist without electricity, then it's based off this 5G 57, 31, 13 inversion grid that takes everything from us, our privacy, our thoughts, our dreams, if it exists without electricity, like the tree, like
Yep.
the animals, like
Yep.
the water, like
Yep.
the air, like the elements, then it is
Yeah.
true, then it is real. But if it exists with technology, it is not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
It can be, but it not necessarily is by default.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because you can also see that there's new systems on the technology. The good parts are
Yes, that are good.
to bring
Yes,
some privacy.
right.
I'm all about privacy. When people are in my community, if they listen to me, like, I structure as much as I can about that. And they say, but you're still out there. We can fight. But they actually really start to understand things that we do and shift. And it's because people who are awake are understanding that. And it's like, wait a minute. People say, well, I don't need my privacy. And I'm like, really? Well, who cares? I have nothing to hide. I said, none of us have anything to hide. That's not what it's about. It's about saying, I want to have my privacy like I had when I was 10 years old. And, I would say, Mom, I'm going to ride my bike, and I will see you, at 5 o'clock. And you had your watch, and nobody knew where you were, what you were doing.
Yeah.
But you would go and play with your friends and ride your bike and eat some donuts or whatever and have a good time and have some ice cream, like, but actually not like that, but you know,
Yeah, right, right.
Have something fun with your friends, have some laugh, have some joy, and then go home and have dinner with your family and have some time with them. And, you know, that's all been literally over time eroded and taken away. And so now, you know, there's times where you deserve that. I totally agree. So that I can see coming in, but again, it's going to be a push pull.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's pretty, there's so much happening.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh man, there's so much.
We've hit every time. We could probably we'll probably have to do some sort of like thing where, you know, just for 8 hours, that's what we'll end up doing. People have so many questions. And I think though, as we get to the top of the hour, you just did this beautiful blessing. Thank you. When you really look at the world right now and you look at what people are going through, and what is one of the things you just really want to leave with them? Because we're in chaos in different ways, but it's going to get really extreme from the financial institutions to the government institutions between now and the end of the year. So you and I will be back to help them go through this and on the Telegram and stuff.
Yes.
What's something you want to leave with them?
That the word heaven is a conjunction word of heart and even. It's the balanced heart. Heaven is a balanced heart. And Jesus said, unless you become like a little child, you may not enter the kingdom, the covering. Kingdom, sovereign covering, dumb is dome, the sovereign covering of the balanced heart is in the childlike wonder.
I love that. Childlike faith. That's the number one, you know, I say to people, play. To play more. And I love the childlike faith because it's true. And that is what's robbed. And that's why kids now, they want them in school, whether because they're robbed of it. And they take it away because that childlike faith connects you to your spirit, connects you to the God of your understanding, connects you to freedom,
to your imagination.
And what do you do as a child? Like I did and was told, shush up. You question everything. That's why the terrible twos are why? No, why? No, why?
I think that lasted to the fives in our house.
It's a terrible five. Why? No, why? No. And people are getting mad. No, because I said no. Well, why? Why? No, why? Yeah. I think it's amazing. And I'm so happy that you were able to join us again, because these are big topics. And I think it just looks like we've just opened, you know, when you open like a tuna can or something and you put the thing in, we just got one little hook. We haven't even reeled it all open yet, or the sardine cans or whatever.
That's right.
And I know you and I have lots of other things and I think all of the listeners, you have to understand, Lucas and I have other things that we're going to bring to you guys and share with you. And it's really time that I believe we all step it up. As you know, we are heroes here. We are the light. And if you're weary, you find people like our communities and Lucas and these beautiful people. We're here to help you. We're here to help you grow, but we're also here to, that's why I always say we did our work earlier. People say, you know, because we also need people that can help hold the line when, you know, if it's getting weary. And it's not, again, it's not better than anyone. It's just that we hold that line a little bit differently. So thank you. Thank you for being on this journey with me.
Thank you. I can't tell you the blessing you are to me. I'm so thankful for you.
We have so much more to come, but I know you'll be back here and you'll be back over, especially on our community again and Soul Sundays. And, you know, we've got so much more, but I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom. And again, tell everybody where they can find you before we sign off.
You can find me on lucasmack.com on Instagram and YouTube, or the podcast that I host is called The Golden Rule Revolution.
And you want to check it out. It's really amazing. Amazing. You have incredible guests and people. So thank you.
You are one of them. So thank you.
I love coming, but you have the other beautiful perspectives and guests. And I really know that your place in the world is definitely here to help people decipher. It's why I'm so happy that Spirit brought us together to decipher this whole area that is going to start crumbling down, because people are going to need homes to go to understand that they're okay and God loves them and new things are happening, and we can spread that space. So from my heart, I just love you. I thank you for taking the time out to be with us today and to come back again. And for all of our listeners, I cannot thank you enough for tuning in and for joining us. So get to the Telegram group and have some fun. And I think that hand of God of blessing each and every one of you through this change, this transition, to really allow you to be very strong, centered, grounded, balanced, neutral, and to open your hearts even more to bringing in that hand of God of your understanding, to really lift you up to new levels and layers. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Lucas, again, for joining us. So much love. I know we'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Thank you for listening to the Tracy L Clark Show with me, Tracy L, where I teach you how to connect to the God consciousness so you can unlock your superpowers and connect at light speed and live your extraordinary life. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where together we will unlock the secrets of your body and your life. As the founder of the Body Regeneration Academy, I, Tracy L, will provide you with the insight and simple tools you can apply right now in your life to move you forward and leave the past in the dust. To join the Body Regeneration TLC Online Academy, make sure you check me out at tracylclark.com.